Do you want to wake up feeling like you're stepping into who you're meant to be, into the best possible version of you? What if I told you that the key to your best life, health, and happiness are all around you? You just have to find what works for you. I'm Hopeful and I believe that there isn't just one way to live a healthy and meaningful life, and that all you need is a little inspiration to make changes that last from the inside out. Each week, I'll be sharing tangible tips and inspirational interviews to help you on your journey. These are the steps to take to improve your life and live with purpose. This is Hopeful and Wholesome. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Hopeful and Wholesome. I'm your host, Hope Pedraza, and I'm so excited to have you here for this conversation. We're talking all about energy, and not just energy, but the science of energy, because I like to tie in the spiritual with the science. And I think sometimes we talk about energy and it can, for some people, can feel a little like woo or weird or whatever, but I want to bring this concept of energy down to earth to really have you wrap your head around this. I work a lot with energy. I do energy work with my clients, and it doesn't have to be woo. And so I would love to kind of demystify this conversation around energy. And I've mentioned, we've talked about this a little bit on the show before, but not really diving into it into the depths that I want to dive into it today. And I first kind of started diving into this energy work, and I'm going to mention Joe Dispenza in this conversation, because I think that's when, I won't say it's the first time I really came into contact with this, because I worked with like a spiritual business coach for a while and some other things, but that Dr. Joe, because he does kind of bring these, what can seem, I'm using air quotes here, what can seem woo concepts down to earth in a really scientific way. I think sometimes it's easier to grasp the concepts in first for analytical minds and the way that he explains it. But I know that I had, in kind of the thick of my burnout that I was experiencing, and trying to like pull myself out from the depth of my burnout, and just being, I'll just say it, being addicted to working and not being able to stop. I had these multiple occasions that this happened, but I remember specifically this one time where I was in it. Like, I was so overwhelmed with the things I had to do, this insane to-do list, getting things done, being stressed about finances with my business, being stressed about a bunch of other things. There were kids who needed me, and kids, right? There's so much going on. And I remember my husband had gone to the gym or something and was coming home, and he came in, and I'm like, I need 20 minutes, right? And it's so funny because if you have kids in your life and you have kids in your house, there's an episode of Bluey where this happens. And I remember watching this episode with my kids, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so relatable. But and the thing is, I needed 20 minutes, but also like I felt like at some point my brain just stopped working. Like, nothing was coming through. I needed to get stuff done, but nothing was happening. Nothing was coming through. Like, it was foggy, it was staticky, nothing. And so I went into the bedroom and I put in my noise canceling headphones, and I just turned on a meditation, and it was just like the haze, the fog lifted. It was all energy, right? There was so much energy flowing. There was so much energy coming from all different directions. My mind was that, like, so much. And I think, like, again, that wasn't the only instance that this thing happened, but I think these experiences of feeling like this really taught me that energy is everything. And it's not just physical. It's mental, it's emotional, it's all of these things. And it's the driving force behind how we show up in our lives, how we show up for our loved ones, how we show up in our business, how we show up for our family, our career, right? It's everything. And when it's blocked, everything feels harder. And that's how it felt for me in that instance. Like, I literally felt like I had these things I needed to get done. Like, there were deadlines coming for things I needed to get done. I literally felt like I could not move. Like, my feet were in cement. My brain was like blocked off in this static. And that's how it feels, right? When our energy isn't flowing, everything feels hard. And so today I want to talk about how energy flows and how it gets stuck in your body, and break down kind of the science of energy flow, talk about this kind of bioelectric nature of the body that we really underestimate, and honestly just don't really know a lot about, and explore how specific practices can help kind of unlock that energy to really help you feel balanced and vibrant and bring just more ease, right? So, what does it mean to say that the body is made of energy? When I say energy, I'm not just talking about how much sleep you get, how many cups of coffee you had, how much exercise you're doing to make. I'm not just talking about the physical energy, safe energy, the physical energy. At its core, your body is a living, breathing energy system, period. Your body is energy. Every cell in your body communicates through these bioelectric signals that they're sending to each other. And this energy governs everything from your heartbeat to your ability to think clearly, which is why when your energy is blocked, you literally can't. So, Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I will say this, giving Dr. Joe all the plugs here. If you've never read any of Dr. Joe's books, I highly recommend. I've read every one of his books more than once. And there's a couple books that I've read like 3 or 4 times. I'm not kidding. I have them all in, and I listen to them. I find for me, I like to listen to his books on Audible. But yeah, I recommend every single one of his books. And if you ever get the chance to listen to him in person, I've also been to one of his workshops, and I have this compilation, this Audible doesn't sell it anymore, which really sucks. I would send you the link, but it's this compilation of all of these different workshops that he's done, and you can listen to it. Like it's amazing. It's amazing. He's amazing. Anyway, in his research, he has research on the connection between energy and healing, and that's what a lot of the concepts in his books talk about. But it explains that the human body is constantly generating bioelectricity, which flows through these energy pathways in the body. It's like highways, right? Highways that connect every organ and muscle and nerve and cell in your body. And if these pathways are blocked, this is what results in physical symptoms, dis-ease in the body, things like fatigue, tension, chronic illness, chronic disease, cancer. Like he has in his books, he talks about this. He has so many stories of people coming to his workshops. I mean, it's incredible. Like he's literally healing people, and it's all about getting this free flow of energy back in the body. And he does the other thing I love about Dr. Joe, and you can see this in his books because he does bring this down in a tangible way, especially for, again, like I said, those analytical minds that need concrete things to really understand these concepts. He does he does so much research and studies on this stuff and brings it to basically like proof, like here's the proof that this stuff is working. So it's evident, right? There's evidence of it. And the other thing that if you've ever heard of heart math, this is something else that about the heart and the electromagnetic field of the heart. Your heart produces the strongest electromagnetic field in the body, and they can study this. You can get data on this, right? There are scans of this. The heart produces the strongest electromagnetic field in the body, 5,000 times stronger than your brain. So this field doesn't just regulate your physical body, it influences your emotions, how you connect with others. This is why like we have like heart brain coherence, and Dr. Joe talks about this a lot, and there's some other scientists like Bruce Lipton talks about this too. That and Dr. Greg Braden, he talks about this too. You go look up all of them, and they have books, they have talks, they have all kinds of things. But that heart brain that heart brain coherence is key. And that's how we really are able to connect kind of like the physical and the energetic world. But it's because your heart has this really super strong electromagnetic field in the body that your inner, again, this is why your emotions and how you connect with like all of this is related, your physical, mental, emotional health. This is why we really can't separate these pieces, right? You can't separate the mind from the body and the spirit from the mind and the spirit from the mind. You can't separate. And all of these pieces are so interconnected. And this is why so much of conventional ways of thinking and doing things and healing the body through like allopathic care falls short. Not saying it's not necessary, not saying that we don't need it, but it falls short in so many ways because it just makes the body very disjointed. And the body is this one interconnected, just interconnected being. That's what you are. And I think that's the understanding the energy conversation helps bring that concept to life. So think about energy blockages and think about like even the story I told you at the beginning and think about how you have had feelings of feeling completely exhausted. You've had feelings of brain fog, right? When you're able to recognize how your stress is showing up in your physical body and how like your emotions and your physical body are connected, right? you can understand how your body has to be able to process these emotional things going on so your physical body can process the things going on. And this is why in my work that I do, like, yes, we're going to look at the labs, we're going to look at on paper, this is what's happening in your physical body. Like I've got it on paper. We've got the data. We're looking at your hormones. We're looking at your gut. We're looking at your minerals. We're looking at all of these things, right? So now we don't have to guess what's happening. I can see it right now on paper. I can see what's happening in your body. At the same time, if we really want to get to the root cause of this, it's the energy, right? It's the energy. I'm going to use the word, I've done this in a handful of podcasts before. For me, energy and emotions are interchangeable because emotions are just energy in motion. And this really is getting down to the root cause. If we want to look at why these physical things are happening, right? It's how it's manifesting physically on the body is due to this emotional, energetic piece. And that's where we really dive into the real root cause and why your body is holding on to these physical things. So think about common causes of energy blockages. Stress, of course, stress is like a no-brainer, right? We know that 90 or more percent of chronic disease is caused by stress, right? When you're constantly in fight or flight mode, when you are constantly go, 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 your body is going to prioritize survival over optimal energy flow, right? It's going to lead to fatigue, tension, digestive issues, anxiety, chronic disease, right? This is what happens. Your body's not concerned with how free flowing your energy is flowing through your energy centers, right? It just wants you to survive, right? It's going to keep your heart pumping. It's going to keep your brain functioning, probably not optimally, but it's going to be functioning, right? It's going to prioritize the things that it needs to just survive. So when you're in survival mode, and sometimes you don't recognize this. Sometimes you don't recognize you're in survival mode, right? This is a huge block to energy. Inactivity can be another one. Sitting too long can stagnate your energy, especially in your lower body, right? This is why it's good to take breaks during the day, or like you can invest in like a walking pad, like keeping your body moving is going to help. And a lot of times it's why you might feel sluggish after sitting down for a long period of time. And the other one too is emotional baggage. I don't know any other way to explain that or to say that, but emotional baggage. Unprocessed emotions create blockages, and we all have those. Like we're born with those, right? There are studies talking about generational trauma. I've talked about generational trauma on the show, and the studies are showing that up to 7 generations, like we're born with up to 7 generations of trauma in our body. And I personally believe that it's more, but I guess that's maybe how far back science can pick it out. But we are literally born with it. So we're born with generational trauma. We have collective trauma, right? We have all these emotions, and this is going to create blockages when we're not taking the intentional time to process. And I'll talk about that in a second. But if you ever notice how, if you've had a fight with someone that you love, right? It leaves you physically drained, like having a physically draining heart. Like you literally feel how that emotional interaction has physically drained your body. That's your energy being disrupted by emotions, right? We've all felt that. We've all felt that before. And we've ever noticed how grief, right? If you've ever experienced grief, how that can affect you physically, affect your body physically, right? We know, and here's the other thing that gets me is and I say we, it's not you that's listening, because if you're listening, then you already have an open mind about this. But society, I guess society in general, wants to make talking about energy and emotions like this woo thing. And I really, I don't even like saying that because it's not. Like talking about energy and emotions are not. But society wants to make it into this woo thing. And the ironic thing to me is that we've all experienced how emotions affect our physical body. Like every single human on the planet has experienced it. So there's no way that you can argue that your emotions and energy doesn't affect your physical body, that these two things aren't connected. Like it's just impossible. So to make this like it's not real, or we want to like science your way out of it, you can't. Like we've all experienced it. We've all experienced how anger has affected us physically, or grief, sadness, confrontation. There's so many things, right? Shame. There's so many things that affect our physical body. We've all experienced it. Now, the problem comes when these things are like so layered that we can't see them until we start peeling back layers and working with things like energy work and energy healing that we'll talk about and that I've talked about before. But my point in saying that, going down that rabbit hole, is that we can't argue our way out of that connection. Like it exists, right? It exists. The connection between your emotional, energetic body and your physical body, it exists. So how do we start to untangle these pieces, right? If you've ever tried things like acupuncture, Reiki, EFT, like EFT tapping, which I've talked about before, you've experienced how these practices can clear blockages and help kind of restore that energy flow. And these are some of the practices that I use. I don't do acupuncture personally, like I don't do it on people, but I've had it done before. But things like Reiki and EFT, all of these things, hypnosis, right? These are all things that can help clear energy blockages and help restore the energy flow. And these techniques work with the body's energy pathways. And traditional Chinese medicine calls these meridians. You can call it whatever you want. But there is a lot of science behind these kind of energy pathways and how it works. And Dr. Joe even talks about this too. He kind of brings the concept of chakras, which he calls energy centers. He says that chakras can divide people and how they think about things. But he has science to illustrate how the energy centers in the body work. So again, I will say it again and again. Really go back to Dr. Joe if you're feeling like, "Oh, I don't know about all this stuff. Go look at the science. Dr. Joe's got it all." Anyway, so but these techniques that I'm talking about work with kind of these energy pathways in the body. And there are actual studies about things like acupuncture too. Like there's a study in scientific reports, I think is what it was called, the source. And it showed that acupuncture stimulates the body's bioelectric signals, improving circulation, reducing inflammation in areas where the energy was blocked previously. So it's literally showing how your energy has been freed up by doing the acupuncture. And there's studies about acupuncture. There's a book called, oh darn. I'll put it in the show notes, and I'm having a brain fart. So it's why I want to say it's called Why Woo Woo Works. I think that's the name of it. But it's such an interesting book because it goes through all these, I'm using air quotes here, woo things like crystals and Reiki and acupuncture and meditation, and it brings in the science because there are studies around all these things. It is fascinating because there are actual hospitals that started using things like Reiki and acupuncture, like allopathic care, like conventional medicine hospitals have done studies on it. It's fascinating. So I'm pretty sure it's called Why Woo Woo Works. I'm like 99.9% sure that's what it's called. It's really fascinating. So if you really want to look at the science of that, but there is science showing that when you do things like acupuncture, like I was just talking about, it clears energy blocks, right? It's reducing inflammation, improving circulation. And that's the sign, right? When you're reducing inflammation, you're improving circulation. That's the sign your energy is flowing. Like, I don't know what other evidence you need, but that's the sign. And there are lots of studies showing, and even Dr. Joe, he does a lot of studies with like the brain and how stuff is moving through your brain. So, I mean, it's pretty fascinating. So let's talk about how you can work with your energy every single day. These aren't huge, big, overwhelming things that I'm going to recommend to you. They're just these little small intentional things that can make a huge difference. And some of these you're probably already doing, and maybe some of it you just need to be more intentional about. And some of the things you might be, of course, not might, you have heard of all of these things. None of this is obscure. But you've heard of all of these things, but you're like, I don't even either, I don't know how to do it, or I don't know how to implement it into my day or whatever. But I want to provide some easy ways that you can start implementing some of these things that really can make a huge difference. The first one I want to talk about is breath work. And breath work, this is something I feel like in the next year I'm going to start implementing with my clients, like doing with them, not just recommending it, because I have had some really intense personal experiences over the past 4 months, 4 months with breath work. Breath work is one of the easiest and most effective ways to reset your energy. I'm not kidding. Like it's so, I mean, we're all breathing, like you all have to breathe. And so it's just breathing in an intentional way, right? So remember that, like that overwhelming experience I mentioned at the beginning, that specific memory that I have of feeling like that. Breathing in meditation is the thing to help calm the mind and reconnect with my body. And for me, I've been working with a mentor for a while, and she started implementing it into her mentor programs and stuff. And that's who I've been doing it with. And I mentioned this. I had a post about this not too long ago, and I have an episode that I want to share that I'll put out later about this. But I had one of the most, I don't even know the word for it. Intense is definitely a word that would explain it. But I have had two really, because it wasn't just, no, three. I would say three. Three of the most intense personal experiences. Again, I lack the words to really describe what happened. But she uses a breath pattern called the holotropic breathing pattern. And it's basically helps you get into kind of these altered states of mind because it works with neurotransmitters. There's a lot of science behind this too. Works with neurotransmitters and a lot of different chemicals and hormones in the brain. And the breath pattern is two inhales. It's all through the mouth. It's two inhales, an inhale through the belly, inhale through the chest, exhale through the mouth. So it's right. And so you can do it on, pattern that feels good to you. If you want to try this on your own, you can go try it on your own. But it's in through the belly, in through the chest, out. All of it is through the mouth. And the first time no, it was the second time. It wasn't the first time. The first time I did it was like, all right, that's cool. Like, I felt like things were, something was happening. The second time I did it, I don't know if I went into it with a different mindset. I don't know why. I cried tears. I had no idea where they're coming from. And I went in with no expectations intentionally. I didn't want to go in with any expectations. I just wanted to go in and whatever I was meant to experience is what I was going to experience. I cried tears from the depth of my soul that I did not even know. Like, I lack the words to explain what happened. And there is no explanation. And I saw things and I felt things and I felt people and I felt like it was intense and it was insane. And so the point of me telling you all this is breath work can literally change your life. And I've had three more of those experiences with her, and the things that come through, like the amount of energy that clears out is ridiculous because the things that come through, I did one of them at home by myself because I had like she has some of the breathwork sessions we do as a group. She records and then we have access to them. So I did one again. And I like got out of the session and I had to like find a journal. Like I got to write things down. Like all this stuff was coming through. It's just the amount of energy it clears. I mean, I have so many stories, and maybe I'll save this for another day because I can go down the rabbit hole. I save it for another day, but I have so many stories of things that I've experienced and people that I feel with me. Yeah, all of that to say start some breath work. And even if you're not ready for the holotropic breath, if it gets too intense or it sounds too intense, because I know I'm scaring you with my intense stories, just start with the box breathing. It's so easy. You just breathe in for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Do the box breathing. You do that for like 5-10 minutes. That's all you need. You don't need to do it for an hour. You don't do it for 30 minutes even. You can just do it for 5 or 10 minutes. And these techniques can help lower cortisol. It regulates your nervous system. It tells your body, it gives signals to your body that it's safe to relax and it's safe to let energy flow again. And that's the whole thing. That's the whole point. We need to let our body know that it's safe for energy to flow again. Breath work is crucial for that. I'll move on. Moving your body. This is so simple. Movement. Well, you're probably already moving anyway. And movement doesn't have to mean an intense workout, but it's just literally moving your body gets movement in your body, gets your blood flowing, gets energy flowing. Gentle stretching, a light walk, a short walk. Doing something like just laying and doing legs up the wall. I love a legs up the wall pose, right? You just literally just lay down and put your legs up a wall and then breathe for 3-5 minutes, and helps with circulation, helps release tension. Research shows that even just a 10-minute walk can boost your energy by 20%. I mean, it's so simple. Again, we sleep on the simple things, y'all. We sleep on the simple things because that's even more effective than a cup of coffee. Like that's even more energy than a cup of coffee can give you. And it's natural. Like you just go walk. The last thing, or no, two more things. The third thing is mindful eating. And this is one I'm still working on because I go through periods where I'm really good about it. And then, I have to still continue to work on it. I was the queen forever, the queen of eating on the go, like standing at the counter, eating by my computer, like, just shoveling food while I'm trying to finish things, whatever. But really being intentional about mindful eating really does change things. It's sitting down with your meal, right? Maybe taking a couple breaths before you start eating, chewing your food, like actually chewing your food, paying attention to what you're eating, the flavors, the textures, like thinking about it, experiencing it, noticing how your body feels. This little shift, it sounds like it's nothing. This little shift can help prevent energy crashes and really help you to, it helps optimize digestion. There's a whole book on this too called the Slow Down. Man, I am not good at remembering the books today, but it's coming to my head as I'm thinking about it. I think it's called the Slow Down Diet, the Slow Down Diet. And he talks about this, the science around literally slowing down and eating, slowing your body down while you eat. But it helps with hormones. It helps with metabolism. It helps with how your body's digesting food, and can help with energy crashes and help you tune in to what your body actually needs. Because that's the other thing too. Sometimes we lack the mindfulness around the eating and stuff. And so now not only are we not really experiencing, we're not present in what we're doing and what we're eating, but now also it can kind of make these signals, these full hunger signals, kind of foggy because we're not really paying attention, right? So the mindful eating can be great. And then the last thing I want to say is energy clearing, emotional energy clearing. So if you're holding on to emotional stress, emotional baggage, things like EFT tapping, and in the show notes, I'm going to put a link to my holistic energy detox. And I have so many of these things, so many of these techniques in there. And I have the mental. So the holistic energy detox is going to break this detox down into 3 parts. So the physical body, so I'm going to talk about the liver and your detox organs, the mental body, and your emotional body. Okay. And so we're talking about emotions and energy stuff. Like this is what we're talking about in the holistic energy detox. So I talk about EFT, and I have specific EFT for specific places in your human design chart with like a L, and I explain it there and how to find that. But anyway, EFT tapping. I found EFT tapping, and I'm not as regular with it as I used to be. I do still do it every now and then. But when I was really going through like the depths of my inner healing and doing like inner child stuff and, working on generational trauma, all these things, the EFT, so powerful. And doing it, even like if you feel like you have a big presentation or interview, it's something that makes you feel like you have anxiety or stress around a certain thing. Like there's so many benefits of tapping. Just a few minutes. It doesn't have to be a big long thing. And my tapping in the holistic energy detox, it's like maybe 10 minutes. Like it's something so easy you can do. And once you know it, like once you know the areas that you're tapping, you can do it on your own and really help calm your nervous system and help with kind of clearing it out. And it kind of goes, well, not kind of, it does. It goes back, it links to traditional Chinese medicine that I talked about a second ago, the meridians of the body. So it's such a powerful way to release emotions and emotional energy and regain clarity. And other methods I use with my clients, like I mentioned hypnosis earlier, right? I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, use hypnotherapy, NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. And so it's really getting into the body to reprogram the mind. We do somatic work. So all of these things help with emotional clearing. So I want you to remember this. Your body is one incredible energy system. And when you take the time to notice where your energy feels stuck, where your energy feels stagnated or blocked, and implement these small intentional practices, this is what's going to get your energy flowing again. And you are going to be amazed at how it affects every aspect of your life. Because it's not just about your productivity and your physical energy, but it's your overall sense of well-being, but it's how you be, right? How you be in your relationships, how you be in your work or your business or whatever, your friends. It affects everything. Energy, we are all energy. It's literally affecting everything. So I challenge you to try to implement, if you don't already implement these, maybe be more intentional with it. If you don't, or if you don't, pick one, right? Pick one of these practices, whether it's breath work, mindful eating, just getting up and moving your body more often, and just notice how it shifts your energy, how it affects your energy. Notice how you start to feel things moving in your body with more ease. There's so much more to talk about in this conversation, but I think this is a great place to start because I gave you some things that you can take with you and start implementing. I'd love to know your thoughts. Share those with me, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Hopeful and Wholesome, y'all. If you found value in this week's episode, please subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast and leave a review to let me know what you thought. I'd love to know what you find useful in these episodes so I can know how to provide the most value I can to my listeners. And if you have topics you'd like to know more about, I'd love to hear those as well. So shoot me a message on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. It's at TheHopePedraza, or you can visit my website, hopefulandwholesome.com. Thanks, y'all.